Today's show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. My savvy fans secure their internet. Join them at expressvpn.com/watchchad. Oh yeah, friends and neighbors, I once again sit before you in my resplendent Chad Prather Show studio to crow about the cacophony of confusing events that cloud up the otherwise clear blue skies hovering above the media landscape. And let me tell you, it's becoming harder and harder for me to convince myself that I have not indeed gone completely crazy. Now, if you've stayed abreast of the news lately, and I can't blame you if you haven't, you may have heard a funny little thing that our good friend Rashida Tlaib recently said at an abortion rally. Now, first, it behooves me to suggest that the idea of an abortion rally itself is both odious and saddening. But if you were to ever ask me at any given hour on any given day, where might I find Rashida Tlaib? Well, an abortion rally would be on my list of top 3 guesses. She said, and I swear I am not making this up, that if you're pro-life, you should stop trying to have sex with her. Now, I know I could just shut the camera off right now. This thing would still be a successful video because you're already laughing. But let's penetrate this a little further, shall we? Here we go. Now, some faces are perceptive. Some are receptive. The face of Rashida Tlaib, my friend, is contraceptive. I mean, are you kidding me, lady? She looks like Pepe the Frog made sweet, sweet love to a Muppet. Stop trying to have sex with me, she said. Look here, Palestine. Dudes in the Middle East aren't trying to sleep with you, and they have an affinity for goats. What are you going to do? Go join Alyssa Milano on the sex strike? Because I got bad news for you. We didn't miss her, and she's sort of hot. Now, friends, we're talking about the least hittable member of the squad, drawing a line in the sand and telling the world, you aren't getting any of this unless you think about things the way I think about them, and especially when it comes to abortion. Ain't nobody rushing to jump into that bread line, so listen up, you loaf with a lipstick. The discerning American public, despite all the efforts made on the part of a few to pin us into a set of beliefs which are diametrically opposed to the siren song of our biological imperatives, have some damn taste. Hell, I bet you even have to pay your doctor extra to get up in there. I mean, talk about an OBGYN nope. I don't mean to be mean. Well, actually, I sort of do, because the truth is, Rashida, you're pretty hard to look at on the outside, but a lot of that is that you're pretty ugly on the inside, too. Now, between being viciously anti-Semitic and swaying your head back and forth like a snake while screaming out the battle cry to sally forth and rid ourselves of as many of our children as possible, you've got a condition that they don't make enough makeup in the world to cover up. Now, sometimes the irony is so thick you can't cut it, and all I can say is I'd rather eat fish from a Wuhan market while the vendor sneezes directly into my open mouth than spend an evening trying to woo Rashida Tlaib. Hell, she's the only Muslim woman out there that I wish would put a burqa on. But I'll give her this much. I think she's onto something. If you happen to believe in the sanctity of life, maybe a second look at the person you're about to dance the horizontal mambo with isn't such a bad idea. And as for you, Rashida Tlaib, I don't even know what to say. I damn near lost my lunch just thinking about it already, so maybe I'll go think about something else for a while. All I can say is I've driven past plenty of pastures in my day, and I've never once thought about screwing the cows. And if that seems mean to you, I'm sorry. I just have a problem with people who cackle about murdering innocent children. I'm kind of a weirdo like that. Anyway, I want you all to take care of yourselves. Don't be like Rashida Tlaib in pretty much any way possible. I love y'all. God bless. And I'm so glad you've tuned in to the Chad Prather Show. It's Monday, and that means headlines. Hang on. Hey, I don't know about you, but I don't get out to the range anywhere as often as I would like to. Getting all the firearms loaded up, gear, ammo, driving to the range, and then it's expensive. Thankfully, I have a great solution that will save you time and money and help you be a better shot just like it's helped me. It's called iTarget Pro. Using their proprietary app and laser bullet, iTarget Pro will allow you to safely practice dry fire training with your actual firearm in the convenience and privacy of your own home. Dry fire training will develop muscle memory, help with target reaction speed, sight alignment, trigger function, and more. iTarget comes in all the major calibers, including .223 and .556. This means less driving to the range, less ammo, and less money. Right now, you can get 10% off plus free shipping with the offer code CHAD. We still need to fight for our Second Amendment rights. So get iTarget Pro before they try to ban that too. Take your skill to the next level safely and effectively. That's the letter I, targetpro.com. And while you're there, use offer code CHAD. Hey, everybody, I'm just checking up on my numbers here from social media. Yesterday, did you see my coronavirus drug deal that went down?
Yeah, and my question was, who was driving the car? I think I know who. I was looking at their hand.
How can you see the hand?
I saw someone's hand handing you some money.
Yeah, they were doing a deal, man.
They were doing a deal.
Who did you think it was?
Brandon?
No, it was Jade.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was
Had
Jade.
Small hands.
That's why I said, hey, girl. Yeah, but anyway, that was a pretty funny video. Hit 1 million today. Yeah, it's funny. If you haven't seen it, you can go to YouTube. See, we throw stuff in there, not just the podcast. We throw all kind of fun stuff in there. You never know what you're going to get. That's why I encourage everybody, you got to go right now. You got to go to YouTube, and you got to hit subscribe. And you know what you guys did for me, and I want to say thank you? I did a live feed video on Facebook last week, and what you guys did, it really encouraged me. We were out, Candice, we were out of the top 200 in our category of podcast on Apple Podcasts, which is kind of the litmus test for where rankings are. And I ask you guys to go in and rate and review. You can go to where podcasts are offered. I prefer Apple Podcasts. 75% of you guys, we know from the analytics, y'all are using Apple. So just go in there, scroll all the way to the bottom after you find the Chad Prather Show to give you a place you can leave a 5-star rating, and then you can leave us a good review. When you do that, it helps us in the rankings. So we got, I think, as high as like 60, just like that day. So that means you guys took us from off the charts, which we rarely are off the charts. I was discouraged when I saw that. And then, boom, we were back up at 60. It's a total vanity rating, but let me just tell you, it makes us relevant.
Do you know what Apple Podcast also does?
What?
That if you don't go in there and download or stream those, they'll unsubscribe you after a certain amount.
They will do that.
Because
yeah, if you're not listening.
I looked at mine after that video came out, or that thing came out that you said do that. I went in there and I was unsubscribed.
Yeah, if you're not listening to it consistently, they will unsubscribe you. So make sure. So I encourage you, do it twofold. Sometimes you want to listen to it in the car or in your headphones, whatever, maybe on an airplane. Hope you do. We're going to get in tomorrow night. We're going to do a special episode. It's just something I want to talk about. We're going to talk about this coronavirus deal, the COVID-19. Everybody's talking about it. Why not? I know everybody out there now, last week, y'all were geopolitical experts. Now everybody is a pandemic expert. They all know about, communicable viruses and diseases from China. And everything's all over the internet. What do we believe? What should we do? I mean, I'm feeling a little lightheaded right now just talking about it, And so we're going to get into that tomorrow night, Tuesday night, specifically on the coronavirus. This is a weird Monday, Steve. We were talking about it on the ride into the studio. The stock market went nuts when it opened. Boom. And it's all because of this oil price war with Russia and Saudi Arabia. You were watching that deal.
Yeah, you're talking about, that's kind of collusion to me. They're like piling on this coronavirus stuff that's happening, and then Saudi Arabia releases a few more million barrels of oil a day, which doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah.
But as we talked about, that's a lot when you start talking per barrel.
Per barrel and what the price per barrel is. And that's the thing, because they do want to pile on. If you're in an economic crisis, which is what, again, Glenn Beck has talked about on his Wednesday night specials, is that it's not so much we're worrying about getting the coronavirus. It's, are we putting ourselves in a self-fulfilling prophecy of economic collapse or at least economic depression because of our fears? And we're going to talk about that tomorrow night, but that was the point of my video, because, here's the cash, and then you think it's a drug deal, and out comes the toilet paper and the Germ-X and stuff like that. And people keep going, well, why in the world is there, what's the toilet paper got to do with it? Well, if you get quarantined for 14 days and you got to take a dump and you run out of toilet paper, it becomes third world real quick. Now, they've been using their hand in India.
I was going to say, do you really have to have toilet paper?
It's a first world creature comfort. Now, you could, Puppet Master, you could just use a washcloth and rinse that sucker out.
That's right. Or, Hawaii has a huge crisis of being out of toilet paper. They could use a seashell.
Yeah, you just scrape a little clam shell. And like you could even keep a sample.
Yeah. So you're ready to break out corn cobs, for the Midwest, use corn cobs.
That gets it clean.
California, they can use paper straws.
Yeah.
Wipe their ass.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
You'd have to take a bunch of paper straws.
Yeah.
But in California, they're using their hand. Yeah. Like all you got to do is see San Francisco. It's like they're digging peanut butter out of the jar.
I saw somebody posted a picture yesterday, some friends out there, and they I don't know if they took the picture or took it from someone else, and the woman squatted down.
Yeah, it's everywhere, dude.
Right on the sidewalk.
And again, I was talking about this on another show, someone else's podcast recently, about my time in Africa, and I'm like, look, around the world, we make a big deal out of it because we're so first world. But around the world, in places I've been, I've seen African women just hike their skirt up right there in public and just pee right there in the gutter, just right there on the curb, and they can aim it because they've been doing it their whole life.
Yeah, I saw that in Kuwait. A kid squatted down, pulled his
pants,
his whatever he was wearing.
Yeah,
he took a dump right there, and mom came over there with her foot and just covered it with sand, and they went about there
like a cat.
Like it was nothing.
Like a cat. Well, it is nothing because it's all they've ever known. See, if you live in America and you're crapping in the streets, then there's something wrong with you mentally. I get that because you shouldn't have to do that. But there's plenty of places. But again, around the world, we've gotten so spoiled. We don't understand how the rest of the world works and how it lives on a daily. I mean, if you haven't just gone outside of the house and hugged a tree and squatted down, and I mean, how many times have you taken a dump in the woods?
Yeah. Plenty of times.
Plenty of times. My brother every day, he used to come home with no socks on because he was on a job site and he went out in the woods and took care of business. My brother's shit anywhere, man.
There's been that time in public where you've there's no toilet paper, you got to go. Yeah. You pull a sock off or underwear off. I think everyone's done it at least once.
Every grown man's done it. I mean, at least, I don't know about you elitists. Y'all elitists are dumb. I don't know about you guys on the coastal, New York or L.A. or how much y'all have done that, in your high rises. But us country folks that grew up down in the woods cooking meth, we pooped in the woods, man. We pooped in the woods a lot.
There's a reason that I time my poops with my showers.
Yeah, I know.
The best I can.
I know.
I'm ahead of the game.
You don't want to go back to the way you grew up. I know. Yeah. You gotta clean yourself. But no, so it's getting bad, man. People are buying toilet paper. You can't get that stuff. You can't get the sanitary wipes. You can't. You know what we did? We did a long time ago? We prepared.
Yeah.
We prepared. See, we say stuff like this, and everybody, Puppet Master, how many years you've been around here, man? You've been around here. You've heard all the crap that's come in at people like Glenn Beck when he said, hey, you need to prepare. You need to get some food stores. Am I right?
Yeah, he's been talking about that for a while.
For a long time.
Yep.
And people don't hear about, they're like, oh my God, Glenn Beck again, he's promoting the end of the world. No, it's just wisdom.
And all the, the food prep stuff that I ordered through using your discount code.
Yeah, preparewithchad.com. You can do it. And look, I don't get a cut of that. But it's just, they're one of our sponsors here on the show.
Yeah.
And we put it out.
And
it's preparewithchad.com.
I'm about ready to make another order, but I know they're going to be swamped and running behind.
They are swamped. They're having 100 times more orders right now than they've normally gotten. It says so right on the website. So there's a delay.
Panic creates panic.
Yeah.
And so that's, if you see your neighbor panicking about something, you'll start panicking about it.
Well, I've always believed in preparing, not necessarily prepping. Like, I don't need to dig the bunker. If they're going to drop a nuclear bomb on me, I'm going out, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You're not going to go have a bunker that you can stay 20 years under your house.
I mean, I just watched that movie last night because the second one's coming out, A Quiet Place.
Yes, I've seen that.
On Hulu. And now The Quiet Place 2 is coming out. They're advertising that. So I watched that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just good to go. Like, I don't need to live like that. I'm just good to go. So anyway, I don't need to live 28 days later, post-apocalyptic. I don't need the Book of Eli. I don't need to be Mad Max. I don't need Road Warrior. I don't need any of that stuff in my life, right? Again, I don't want to shit in the street, so why not? But the point I'm trying to make is, you know, you got to prepare. You do. Back at Y2K, remember Y2K? The world was coming to an end.
Oh yeah.
2000. I remember sitting where I was, watching the ball drop, waiting on the lights to go out, waiting for the computers to
That almost
skip.
cost me my first marriage the first time.
Did it? Why?
Because she panicked.
She panicked.
Yeah, my car's not going to run anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your car doesn't know what day it is.
Yeah. Well, so they put a lot of work into that. They put a lot of there was a lot of IT manpower that went into trying to fix this Y2K problem, and nothing happened, right? But I, again, always believe in preparedness. So I had food stores, I had water stores, I had these things. Now, if you're going to come to my house looking for it in the event of a Y2K, you're not going to find it at my house. I got my place.
Yeah.
I got my stash. I got my hidey ho. All right, but here's the thing. 3 weeks after Y2K, nothing had happened, where we were living a huge ice storm hit that wiped out power, water, everything for some people for 2 months.
Yeah.
Now, ours went off and then it didn't last that long, but an ice storm, it was one of the worst in that area's history. And guess what? People didn't have anything. So they had to go to the churches, they had to come to our house to take baths and stuff. But we had food stores. We had stuff that we could use in that situation, because in that case, there were trees down everywhere. You couldn't get to the store.
Yeah, we can go 4 weeks, food and water at any given time. Now, I don't have a generator yet, but I probably should get one.
And it's so cheap to be able to get generators these days. I'm just amazed at how... Now, my mother, party time, Mom, my mother, back at Y2K and around all that stuff, boy, she had my dad bring in one of them 500-gallon water tank trucks and the generator. And I'm like, Mom, if you're the only house down the street that's got lights on, guess where all the zombies are coming? They're coming to your house, coming. Mom.
You should probably have some plywood at your house too to board up the windows to protect your lights and your water and all that stuff too.
I was watching that post-apocalyptic thing, you know, the Quiet Place last night for the first time. Candice, have you seen that movie, A Quiet Place, where the little blind monsters, they can only hear, they can't see?
Yeah, it's a really good movie. I like it.
Yeah, it's good. So I watched it for the first time because I keep seeing the ads for Quiet Place 2. I didn't even know the movie existed.
Really?
So I was like, okay. So I watch it on Hulu. And I'm sitting there thinking of ways that I would have protected myself had that been my property. How would I have set all that up? These people weren't smart in that movie for a lot of reasons. For a lot of reasons. They did a lot of dumb things. Anyway, I won't get into movies, but I find myself thinking in terms, like, if we have a zombie apocalypse, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my generator. I'm going to have those little outlets, you know, the big outlet strips. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go out, I'm going to salvage a bunch of treadmills. I'm going to surround my house with them facing backwards, like they're facing the house.
Yeah.
And I'm going to turn them all on high. And that way when the zombies hit the treadmill, they're just going to flip off. Soup, 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 soup. We're just going to be slinging zombies.
But, you know, that'll be making a lot of noise. That'll draw more zombies.
That's okay.
All right. You have to get the quiet treadmill.
Hey, when running a business, HR issues, they can kill you just like a zombie. Wrongful termination suits, minimum wage requirements, labor regulations, HR manager salaries, they're not cheap. They're not cheap. An average of $70,000 a year. Let me introduce you to Bambi. Bambi, B-A-M-B-E-E, was created specifically for you, for small businesses. And you can get a dedicated HR manager, craft HR policy, and maintain your compliance, all for just $99 a month. That's a deal. Now, with Bambi, you can change HR from your biggest liability to your biggest strength. Your dedicated HR manager is available by phone, email, or real-time chat. From onboarding to terminations, they customize your policies to fit your business and help you manage your employees day to day. Wouldn't you love to just say, I've got an HR manager and I could send that over to that? Listen, I don't want an HR manager to be looking at my life, but you need it for your business. I need it for my business, and that's the deal. All for just $99 a month. Month to month, no hidden fees, cancel anytime. You didn't start your business because you wanted to spend time on HR compliance? Let Bambi help. Get your free HR audit today. Go to Bambi.com/Chad right now to schedule your free HR audit. That's Bambi, BAMBEE.com/Chad, BAMBEE.com/Chad. to the BEE.com/Chad. Be right back. So getting back to the point of what we were talking about, the stock market dropping today, and again, I jumped on and checked some of my investments, and things were down. But Steve, you and I were talking about it, and I don't like the Saudis. I don't like them. I don't like the Russians. I hate the fact that we kiss their asses, the Saudis.
Yeah.
That's another story for another day, another thing to deal with. I'm sure most of you agree with me. But the international standard for crude lost 11.44, went down to 33.83 a barrel. And then the U.S. crude went down to $30 a barrel. Pretty big deal. And here's the thing. When oil goes down, gold goes up. So I always tell people, trying to get on that gold and silver, that's another thing that I do.
Well, and I see a lot of people posting on social media last night and even this morning. They're talking about, these gas prices, they're great. But you also put, you start putting your friends out of work real quick.
And I always say that the low gas prices aren't always a good sign of things for the overall economy. They're not. No. Because you're right. It does put a lot of people out of work. It just, a sign of prosperity in an economy is a little bit higher gas prices.
Yeah.
Now, we don't want these folks out there gouging. We don't need the gas stations out there gouging, and sometimes they do that. And thank God for our commissioner, Sid Miller, agriculture commissioner in Texas. He's, you see his signature on all the gas pumps. He's a good friend. He's been on the show before years ago. But he keeps an idea, keeps that stuff straight. But they're plunging because of the fears, this COVID thing, right? This COVID-19, this Wuhan, which, by the way, MSNBC, one of their writers, Puppet Master, came out yesterday on Twitter and said that to call it the Wuhan virus is racist. Racist. Everything is racist. Racist.
Isn't Wuhan a city in China?
It's a city, not a race.
Yeah.
Now, if they called it the Chinese virus or the yellow virus or something like that, but they have had a yellow fever.
Yeah, I was going to say yellow fever. Where'd that start?
They've had the Spanish fever. They've had the
Black Plague.
See, that's racist.
That's racist. So
the people of Bubon, they got offended when it was the bubonic plague. There was the Ebola, which is named for the place in Africa it came from. You got the Zika, which is named for the Zika River. So is all that racist? I don't know. But by the way, that's just dumb. That is just dumb. Everything's gotta be racist. By the way, the Chinese, their media is calling it the Wuhan virus. So teach their own. If you feel guilty by using the phrase Wuhan, but what's happening is, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow night, but there is an element of racism to this virus. And I'm going to get into that tomorrow night. I'm never one who calls racism, but I am tomorrow night. There's an element going on here. And again, I'm going to tag it directly on the left and the mainstream media because that's what they do. They blame those of us on the right that are conservatives being racist, but they go out and do these racist things and they project the stuff. So tomorrow night on the deal, we're going to deal with this.
That sounds fun. I can't wait to see how you make this racist.
Oh, watch and see. Watch and see. You'll see tomorrow night, Tuesday night. Go get it. But anyway, so that's that. It's a good time to invest, folks. I think that, I was looking at stuff like, what do I want to buy right now? Because there's some lows.
Toilet paper stock you don't want to go buy. That stuff's probably out the roof.
Can you imagine the people that make the Germex and the antibacterial lotion? They are just bathing in cash right now.
They're probably dumping some stuff that's not on the market. They're, hey, we got those extra vats of soap. Get it out. The one that smells funky, they'll buy it.
Texas' own Tito's Vodka has come out with an advisory saying, "Do not use their vodka as hand sanitizer."
we made the whole joke on my other podcast about using the. I picked up the bottle of Tito's and I said, "Hey, we're gonna have to go to drinking hand sanitizer."
Pour it down your throat. Pour it down your throat. But I was at CPAC 2 weeks ago. You were at CPAC
I was there
2 weeks ago. And we all, the other day, I was on a flight back from Canada, got an email from CPAC saying that someone from New Jersey who was at CPAC was diagnosed with coronavirus. They were from New Jersey. We don't know who it is.
Yeah. They were a donor?
And so
They were a big donor.
okay. I mean, I don't know.
They
I
were,
mean,
according
whatever.
to everything revolves around Ted Cruz, and him, came in contact with a donor
Yeah.
that was at CPAC, is what I was reading.
Spread false information.
That's what I was reading.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. We'll see. But Ted did apparently shake hands with this person, and so Ted has self-quarantined, which I think the incubation period of this bug is about 5 days at the max. It can go as much as, I think, 14 or 15. But, so that's 12 days.
That sounds like a vacation to me.
It sounds to me like Ted is hanging out at the house.
Or a coronavirus diet plan.
Yeah. I mean, it just sounds to me like Uncle Ted. That Uncle Ted.
I was going to say,
that ain't Uncle Ted.
Wrong one.
Yeah. Sounds like Ted might be doing that. But anyway, so I appreciate that. But you can't come in contact with somebody with coronavirus and then not quarantine yourself because of the PR aspect of that, because the media's gone nuts.
Well, how do we know if they don't let us know who it is? How do they know that we didn't come in contact with this person?
Well, it's interesting. And Candace, you'll appreciate this. So our very own BlazeTV's Elijah Schaefer, I was on the phone with him the other day. And, of course, Elijah's out in L.A. He was at CPAC. And he hosts Slightly Offensive podcast, and it has the YouTube channel, of course, which is sponsored by Blaze. And he's one of our colleagues. He told his pastor, Mark, that he had been at CPAC. So they said, don't come to church. We're not having church Sunday morning. And then the CDC and the California Health Board or whatever told him to self-quarantine himself for 14 days. I'm like, bro, you don't even know if you came in contact with this person.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even know. And so I'm like, okay.
Insanity and panic creates more insanity.
We're gonna get into it tomorrow night. I got some things I want to say about this whole deal. I mean, I have survived way worse things than a media hyped flu. All right, and who knows? Maybe it's going to kill us all, but it's certainly not reached pandemic levels yet. We've survived a lot of things. But just so you know, you don't have to worry, folks. It has not come in contact with President Trump or Vice President Pence. That is good news, people. That is good news. Oh, man. People get scared about everything, man. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Well, I mean, I'm feeling a little woozy today, Candace. You know, it might be because I've been out there licking doorknobs and stuff.
I've asked you repeatedly to stop doing that and just anything with lead products in it.
I know.
Just
let's go back for just a second before we do another headline. Let's go back to this abortion rally, this abortion celebration. This was the one where old Chucky Schumer basically issued a threat to Supreme Court Justice Gorsuch and Justice Kavanaugh, saying you have reaped the world, you have, whatever, the whirlwinds, you're going to pay and all this. Then he walked that back later on because he was getting backlash and just getting blasted by both sides, because that's not a good thing. I mean, how do you threaten a Supreme Court justice?
I don't understand why these guys got to get up there and make threats like that. Or
I'll tell you why. Because he was listening to the Woo Girls. You get up there. Here's old man Chucky. He gets up there and he makes these big old, I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. And the girls are going, woo, woo. And they get a little chub in their pants and they're like, you know what? Let me push them a little bit further.
Yeah.
You know what? You're gonna rue the day, Kavanaugh. Woo-hoo! Just the Woo Girls. Cheering them on.
Because those weren't physical. I don't believe that he meant them as physical threats or anything.
You can't say those things.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Because they're appointed for life.
You're
gonna get it.
Yeah, we had another a senator, I can't remember his name, that basically told them to come and get it, talking about his AR.
Congressman. Yeah.
Congress. He probably shouldn't have said it, but he didn't really threaten them with violence.
To Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah, he didn't threaten him with violence.
Yeah.
But my phone.
Are you buzzing?
That's my phone going
How
off.
long's he been doing this, Candace?
Yeah.
How long's he been doing this?
I don't know why it's buzzing. So he
It's a
doesn't
new day every day.
physically
I
threaten
know why it's
him.
buzzing, because you didn't turn it off.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So he didn't physically threaten him.
Oh, I know
He
what you're trying to
he warned him, hey, don't try to take guns.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, but the left,
You can't say that either.
He threatened them.
You can't say that either.
He should be arrested. I read all the Twitter stuff, and I'm like, really? He said, come and take it. Texans have been saying, come and take it for a very long time, since 1800s.
Again, you can't say things like that.
Yeah.
You just can't say things like that, right? But what I got a kick out of is this crazy ass Busy Phillips, who I had to go back honestly and look up who Busy Phillips was. And of course, I remember the big face, big chin chick from Freaks and Geeks. She's been in some other little bit parts and whatever. But I don't know what Adderall/cocaine infused trip she was on when she was celebrating her abortion. I have never. Like, why you gotta be so angry about killing your kid?
Yeah.
I mean, you did it at the age of 15, which, by the way, means you were underage and somebody impregnated you. So maybe it was Harvey Weinstein. We don't know. LA's weird. But why are you out there getting pregnant at 15? First of all, she said, I couldn't have the life I have if I hadn't. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of successful people, a lot of successful women, which, by the way, yesterday was International Women's Day. I mean, give you girls a day and y'all think you could just run away with things, man. But a lot of successful people out there have had babies when they were teenagers and they let their child live.
Speaking of National Women's Day, I saw something where they were bitching about they got shorted 1 hour because of daylight savings time.
Yep, that's right.
Like...
That's right, girls. It ain't nothing about. And then Greta Thunberg, she came out and said it was all about climate equality. You know, you can't have gender inequity. That's going to hurt the climate. I want to tell you what her reasoning was after the break, but I just can't get enough of these women. Rashida Tlaib, Busy Phillips, Alyssa Milano, Greta Thunberg, Sarah Gonzalez, Hot News Natalie, Candice, the Queen of the Ethiopians, my wife, lovely wife Jade, all of my girlfriends, my harem, my concubines. It's ridiculous what I'm having to live with, Steve. All I wanted was a sandwich. Be right back. Hey, I want to look up that tweet, Greta Thunberg. I retweeted it, and then I love just stirring the pot, people. I love stirring the pot. What I said to Greta Thunberg, she said, this was yesterday's tweet from Greta Thunberg. Climate Scientology, I don't think that's the right term, extraordinaire. Client Scientologist extraordinaire. I don't think that's the right term at all. So she said, today is hashtag International Women's Day, and we recognize that women are still far from equal to men in today's societies. Now, that's true. Societies. We cannot have climate justice without gender equity. Now, that's interesting. Climate justice without gender equity. I really would love to hear a true explanation of what that means, because that could go a lot of directions, Candace. I mean, that could be a lot of things. Are you talking about marginalized women are going to be the ones who suffer the most if the climate is hurt? Like if this whole climate change thing, if we start to melt down, whatever happens, whatever the end result of your so-called end of the world scenario is, maybe it's marginalized women, marginalized people are going to suffer the most. I don't understand the equity thing.
Is that why I saw the video with the women protesting climate change? They all had their tops off and shirts. They were just hot.
And they were in Britain.
Yeah.
And why do their titties never look good?
Yeah, they did not look good.
When I say they just never look good. Like these girls that want to get topless, why don't they have, like the girl that was flashing at the Houston Astros World Series game?
Have a dozen of those protesting.
That's fantastic. We almost had her on the show. What's her name? Something Rose, whatever.
It was absolutely disgusting. I watched the video 4 or 5 times, and I was just like
their chest to. By the way, Candace, somebody was watching the podcast on YouTube the other day. This isn't a podcast anymore, folks, although we're going to continue calling that. This is a daily talk show. You're welcome. This is TV, folks. So this lady said, I don't know if I like Chad's caveman humor. I'm so far not impressed.
I guess we lost one.
Probably did. Well, she was still around commenting at the end of the show. I mean, Candace has to put up with this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And she's honest to God, sweet and innocent. She really is. But
Not
anyway.
anymore. I mean, I'm very callous to it.
You can.
Actually,
We're just here.
I get messages from people that watch it, and they say, man, it feels like we're sitting there with y'all having a conversation.
Well, you are.
Like we would have at our house.
We love you, and you are.
That's-
And here's the thing about like what you're talking about. There they are in Britain. It's funny. She walked around the group of people because their chest to waist ratio wasn't good. Like it was here and then boom here, and it kind of paired out. And she went to the one thin, skinny girl, and it was cold outside, and this girl's nipples could cut glass.
Yeah.
I mean, she went to the one
That's why I kept
girl.
watching it over and over, because they walk over. They had to get around to that backside of those. And
Yeah. So anyway, the gender equity thing. She says, Greta Thunberg says, and remember, what we women want today and every day is equality, not congratulations or celebrations. Well, I'll tell you, I spent International Women's Day celebrating my wife, my 3 daughters, my mother, my mother-in-law. I did celebrate them, and I am thankful for them, right? And I do congratulate them because they're hardworking, good women. My 20-year-old daughter, I said, hey, let me take you to New York this summer. Let's go to some Broadway shows. And she said, I'm working 2 jobs this summer. She said, I'm just going to be slammed. And I'm like, man, most kids wouldn't do that.
yeah.
But, I mean, I celebrate that. I congratulate that. But what I said, I retweeted Greta, and I said, please, for the sake of the planet, name one right American men have that American women don't. The climate apparently depends on it. So that's my smart-ass version of saying, shut up.
Did you get some replies back on it?
This guy responded to me, and he says, it seems to be hard for some people to accept that with increasing climate disasters, women and the most marginalized people groups would be more impacted. So that's back to the point I made earlier. Not just based on earning pay gaps across the world and the security options that money buys. So instead, they try to mock a child. So he's accusing me of mocking her. I didn't mock her. I asked a legitimate question.
This is a child that her parents threw it into this.
So he's just tweeted me again, responded, because I responded to him and I said, so you're telling me you don't have an answer for me? Because you can't, I said, in America, what right do American men have that American women don't? So I'm going to read this tweet for the first time. I've never read this tweet. They just retweeted me. This is live in real time here in Studio 22 in the mothership as we fly into the nether regions, being led by our puppet master, Mark, our captain. It says, that was a pretty glaring gender inequality described in my tweet, Chad. I didn't submiss to your constraint of keeping it in a format of a right within USA, because climate change is a conversation about hashtag global threat, and hashtag International Women's Day is about worldwide progress too. Well, that's great, Jason, that you chose to not get into the conversation with me.
Yeah.
I am not going to submiss. I don't know if he meant to say submit or whatever to your constraints. Well, then don't get into my conversation.
Yeah.
Are people marginalized in the world? Yes, they are. Gays are marginalized in the Middle East and thrown off of buildings. It doesn't matter what their gender is. Women are marginalized in Islamic countries.
Every time I go in a fancy restaurant, they sit me in the back by the kitchen. I'm marginalized.
Yeah, they judge us every time we walk in. And God forbid we ever got Bougie Sean with us.
Oh, did you see they put us in a separate room to eat dinner in Washington, D.C.?
They sure did. And when we were at CPAC, you know why we didn't get COVID-19? Because this lady walks up to Sean, and Sean looking all thuggish in his overcoat, Mark. And some lady walks up and says, are you where you're supposed to be? No, we were at the Trump Hotel.
Yeah.
Are you where you're supposed to be? Are you lost? Are you looking for something? Are you supposed to be in here? I was like, dang, bish.
I was with Bougie, and I wanted to frisk him.
I know. I was like, what you carrying, bro?
Yep. I was like, dude.
I love traveling with Bougie. It gives me immediate street cred, though.
Yeah.
It does. But, hey, that is what it is. Well, Belinda, that is Bill and Melinda Gates for the rest of you. Belinda. Their foundation to fund coronavirus home testing kits in Seattle. I've got friends that are flying to Seattle this week. Chris Bates, my buddy, and his wife Debbie Bates, Dr. Debbie Bates. They're flying. Chris is from up there, so they're flying to Seattle. Praying for them. Maybe they can get one of those Belinda Gates Foundation home testing kits.
But aren't they going out in the wilderness or something?
They probably are.
Yeah.
Man. They're weird like that.
Yeah.
They probably out there drinking the beer. There's probably a COVID strain of IPA that Chris wants to try. The dude's tried every IPA on the planet, man. You need to get him on Beer for Brunch.
Who's that?
Chris Bates.
Really?
Yeah. I
thought he worked on airplanes.
He does work on airplanes. He knows everything about airplanes.
All right, he's going to be our guest on Beer for Brunch. It's going to happen.
He loves his IPAs,
because I'm ignorant when it comes to beer. I just drink it.
I'll be honest with you. I watch y'all's show. I've learned a lot about beer.
I've drank more than probably 120 different beers in 6 months.
Every time we go on the road, you're always drinking a different deal.
I do.
So, hey, go follow his Party Foul Nation. Party Foul Nation YouTube?
Yep, yeah. YouTube channel.
You'll get on that thing. So, all right. Good for Bill and Melinda. Good for Bill and Melinda.
I think it's a waste of money.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
we're going to get into that tomorrow.
If you get it, you kind of know you have the flu. Even if you have regular flu, you should stay at home until you're better. Yeah. That's a no-brainer. There's people that, sick and come to work. They just make everybody else sick.
You get a flu shot?
Nope.
I do.
Yeah.
Put that mercury in me, man.
Put
all that weird chemical crap in me. Put it in me. Put it in me!
If I still worked in hospitals and stuff like that, I probably would because I'm exposed to a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's mandatory at hospitals if you work there.
It turns the frogs gay. That's what it does. If you put the flu vaccine in the rivers, it turns the frogs gay.
Yeah, I think I heard Butchell say something like that.
Yeah, I've seen it happen, man. I got some powerful news that I want to share with you before we get out of here today. God, it's Monday. I love Mondays, Candice, because I can come in and see your charming face. She just shines like the glory of God. She does. Oh. I got a big story for you. You know what? Listen, I've been talking about this one for over a year, and it might be coming to pass. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. I told you guys a year ago, when all 900 Democratic candidates were getting involved with this presidential race, I said, well, they're just going to clear all the dust, and then Hillary Clinton's going to step in there, and people say, no. And now everybody's talking about that. And I've started to doubt it. Okay, Candace, I've started to doubt it because I don't think she's healthy. I don't think that she would be willing to take a subservient role if, say, Joe Biden were to ask her to be VP. But now she's talking about it. She's got a pantsuit on. I told you it was a hashtag Moo Watch. And there's no more moo-moos. I haven't seen the moo-moos in a long time in the pantsuits. So she's actually weighing in on it. She's done some talking about it. And she says, obviously, I'd like to keep that moving and actually have it happen in this election that someone would be the first woman vice president, because she was asked about a female vice president. She said, I'd like to see that happen, but it's got to be someone who can win the Electoral College, win the vote. So maybe she thinks she is. I know she's pumped about a gallon of Botox in that face. We got 25 seconds saved.
Okay, she can't beat Trump, but maybe they think he can. She's VP. Biden steps down.
Or dies because the guy is out of his brain. He's out of his board. President. You don't believe me? Go back and watch his debates with Paul Ryan back in the day, and then look at him today. Biden doesn't have it. Hey, come find us, Elk City, Oklahoma, this weekend. WatchChad.com. We'll see you next time. Love you. God bless. Bye.